You know that phrase, a gut feeling? Well, it turns out it's way more literal than you probably think. There's this incredible, kind of invisible superhighway of communication connecting what's happening down in your gut with what's going on up in your head. So, in this explainer, we're going to take a look at the traffic report from that superhighway and figure out exactly what messages are being sent. So, let's start with a really wild thought. What if the main thing driving your mood, your focus, even how you handle stress, what if it isn't your brain at all? What if it's the trillions of tiny organisms living inside your digestive system? It's a massive question, and it's totally reshaping how we think about mental well-being. See, you're not just, well, you. You're actually an entire ecosystem, home to trillions of microbes that are constantly, 24/7, sending chemical text messages up to your brain. So let's decode that conversation and find out exactly what they're trying to tell us. Okay, to really get this, we have to stop thinking of our gut microbes as just passive passengers along for the ride. Nope, they are active, seriously powerful chemical factories. So let's meet the key players on the factory floor. This bustling community is what we call your gut microbiome. It's mostly dominated by a few major groups of bacteria. And what's so fascinating is that every single one of us has a completely unique microbial signature. It's influenced by literally everything, from your genetics to your diet and lifestyle. So what are these little guys doing all day? Well, one of their most important jobs is to take the dietary fiber that your body can't digest and ferment it. And this process, it's not just about breaking down food. It's about creating brand new, powerful molecules from scratch. And the absolute stars of this whole process are short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs for short. The big three you need to know are butyrate, acetate, and propionate. You can think of these as the main language spoken between your gut and your brain. They are the essential signals that kickstart pretty much everything that follows. All right, now for our first story. It's a real high-stakes journey, and our hero is an essential amino acid called tryptophan. As soon as it arrives in your gut, it faces a critical choice, a crossroads that's going to determine its entire destiny. So we get tryptophan from things we eat, foods like turkey, eggs, and dairy. But here's the twist. Once it gets into our gut, it's not really up to us what happens to it next. Its fate is entirely in the hands, or I guess the enzymes, of our gut microbes. So picture this. Tryptophan arrives at a fork in the road. Path 1, if your microbiome is healthy and happy, it gets guided down the beneficial path. It becomes serotonin, the famous feel-good chemical, and other really protective compounds. But if the microbiome is out of whack, it gets shoved down a harmful path, where it creates a neurotoxin called kynurenine that can actually get to the brain and cause inflammation. So how exactly do these good microbes act like traffic cops here? It's actually a brilliant three-part strategy. First, those SCFAs we just met, they essentially tell your body to ramp up production of the enzyme that turns tryptophan into serotonin. Step 2, certain good bacteria, like lactobacillus, actively block the enzyme that makes that harmful kynurenine. And for step 3, other specific microbes use their own special tool to turn tryptophan into super helpful antioxidants called indoles. It's just an incredibly elegant, coordinated defense. And if you want to know just how important this all is, check this out. A staggering 90% of your body's total serotonin is made in your gut. Now, this gut serotonin doesn't cross directly into the brain, but it plays a massive role in regulating that whole gut-brain communication system we're talking about. But wait, tryptophan isn't the only amino acid on a crucial mission. Our gut microbes also play a starring role in the story of another one, tyrosine, which is absolutely vital for your focus and that get-up-and-go energy. Remember our little friends, the short-chain fatty acids? Well, their job isn't done yet. They also act as a powerful catalyst, basically turbocharging the conversion of another amino acid you get from your diet, tyrosine, which you'll find in foods like meat, nuts, and soy. Okay, so here's the bottom line. SCFAs boost this key enzyme that's like a gatekeeper for making a whole suite of critical brain chemicals. I'm talking about dopamine, which drives motivation and reward, adrenaline for energy, and noradrenaline for focus. So basically, by feeding your gut microbes fiber, you are literally helping them build the raw materials your brain needs to feel motivated and sharp. So we've got microbes creating signals that help make our mood and motivation chemicals. But their final act is maybe the most important of all. This is where all these processes come together to defend the most critical structure in our entire body, the brain itself. Your brain is protected by this incredible defense system called the blood-brain barrier. The best way to think of it is like the world's most exclusive nightclub bouncer. It stands at the door and makes sure inflammatory molecules, toxins, and other bad stuff floating in your bloodstream can't get into your central nervous system. And this is exactly how your gut microbes defend that fortress. First up is structural reinforcement. That SCFA, butyrate, acts like mortar between the bricks, literally making the physical wall of the barrier stronger. Second, you've got antioxidant defense. Those indole derivatives made from tryptophan act like guards patrolling the perimeter, taking out inflammatory threats. And finally, there's blocking infiltration. By making sure tryptophan doesn't become that toxic kynurenine, they stop a dangerous invader from ever even reaching the gates. So, after hearing this incredible biochemical story, the big question is, what can we actually do about it? How do we help out these microbial allies of ours? It really all comes down to fuel. If you want your microbial factories to churn out more of those amazing SCFAs, you've got to give them the right raw materials. And that means complex carbs, especially fiber, and these things called polyphenols. And you find these in a huge variety of plant foods: fruits, veggies, tea, nuts, and, yes, you're going to love this, even high-quality dark chocolate. At the end of the day, a diet that's rich in a diverse range of plants is the perfect fuel for your microbes. You're not just feeding yourself. You are feeding the trillions of partners that are actively working to build the chemicals that protect your brain and keep your mood balanced. We've all heard that classic saying, you are what you eat. But based on everything we've just seen, maybe it's time for an update. What if the real story is that your brain is what your microbes make? That is a powerful idea to think about.